So you really think she's over it? That all of it is behind her and your name has completely vanished from her mind? Really? Let me give you a dose of reality. We're absolutely terrible at seeing the obvious. The signs that someone still misses you could be practically shoved in your face, and, as usual, you'd still miss them. After a breakup, you know what's classic? The person pretending they're just fine, hiding their real feelings. So, in this video, I'm going to rub those subtle signs right in your face, the ones you never pick up on, and explain what they actually mean. We're going to decode those tiny gestures, figure out what's really behind that mask she's wearing, and of course, maybe find a way for you to keep your emotional cool. If you can, that is. Want to face the truth about these signs? Then stick around to the end. Now, before we dive in, let's set one thing straight. This video only exists because some people do their part. They like it, subscribe, and even drop a thanks in the comments to help the channel grow. So stop mooching free content. Do the basics. Click there, subscribe, and if you're feeling particularly generous today, leave a thanks in the comments. This isn't for me, alright? It's for the algorithm, because that's the only way YouTube shows this content to people who seriously need a good reality check. Alright, let's cut to the chase. First strategy up, pay attention. Number 1, why does she hide her feelings? Alright, let's dive headfirst into this psychological circus that happens post-breakup. You really think she's out there, living her best life, not a whiff of nostalgia in the air? Oh, that's adorable, really. Humans are masters at putting on emotional plays and pride. That's the lead costume in this little act. First point, pride. The poison that loves to make a scene when everything falls apart. After a relationship ends, the last thing most people want is to look vulnerable. Nostalgic? Not a chance. She's going to pretend she's Miss Independent, the one who doesn't need anyone, because let's be real, it's easier to fake strength than admit she's sitting there with a lump in her throat. It's like she's wearing a forehead tattoo that says, "I'm totally over you." Pure self-protection, but also a bit of a game. She doesn't want to go through the trouble of showing you she cares, at least, not to your face. Then comes the fear of rejection, pride's trusty sidekick. She knows if she makes any move towards you, there's a good chance you'll respond with that ice-cold shoulder, just carrying on like nothing happened while she's left standing there. Nobody wants to be that pathetic ex, the one still texting at 2 a.m., teary and tipsy. So to avoid giving you the power to step on her heart, she just plays it cool, acting like you barely exist. It's all about denying you the satisfaction of knowing she still feels anything. But hold on. There's another little trick here. For a lot of people, emotional control is a shield. Why? Because showing weakness is terrifying. Showing affection is terrifying. Every part of emotional vulnerability is downright scary for her. So, what does she do? She slaps on an ice layer, pretends she's unbreakable, still convincing herself she's got you wrapped around her little finger. She's practically saying, "I'm not budging. I'll make you think I'm just fine without you." This attitude creates an emotional game, a dance where no one wants to step on the other's toes. She hides what she's feeling, sends out vibes that she's just fine, when you know she might not be. And in the end, it's all there, a perfectly staged show. And you? Stuck going back and forth, trying to decode if it's all just an act or if she's genuinely moved on. Spoiler. You'll only get her behavior once you understand just how much pride and fear of vulnerability are calling the shots in her little dance. It's all just a facade, my friend. Number 2, common signs she misses your presence. It's time to open your eyes and quit pretending you don't see what's right in front of you. Because let's be honest, the signs are there, glowing like neon in Vegas, but you're still thinking she's just being polite. Wake up and recognize that some behaviors aren't as innocent as they seem. So sit down and pay attention to these classic signals. She views your stories and posts on social media. If she's always watching your stories but never reacts, what do you think that means? That she's just some silent observer? No, my friend. She's invested in what you're doing, but she'd rather die than show it. If she wanted zero contact, she'd have unfollowed you, or better yet, simply ignored you. But no, she wants to know what's up in your life, but won't give you the satisfaction of a like or comment because naturally, her pride is taller than Everest. She likes or comments on your posts indirectly. Oh, here's a gem. She doesn't talk to you directly, but suddenly likes a photo of you or comments on something a mutual friend posted. You know what that is? A way of marking territory. She doesn't want to be too obvious, but she's still making sure you remember she's around. You could call it a subtle nonverbal communication method, but in reality, it's just a sneaky way of showing you she's watching. She sends messages in mutual group chats. Ah, the old group message trick. If she's suddenly active in a group you both share, dropping innocent comments without addressing you directly, it's not because she misses the group. It's to stay in your orbit. This is the digital equivalent of lingering near your door, but of course disguised as a pure coincidence. She's making sure you know she's present without directly calling you. She shows up at the same places as you. This one's a classic. If you start noticing she's popping up at the same events or places as you, it's likely no coincidence. It's the accidental meetup tactic. She'll never admit it, of course, but she positions herself in the right places just so, by chance, you might run into each other. It's a way of staying on your radar without saying a word. And if you pay close attention, you might catch her glancing to see if you noticed. She asks mutual friends about you. If she's asking mutual friends how you're doing, don't kid yourself into thinking it's just curiosity. She wants to know what you've been up to, who you're dating, how life's treating you post-breakup. And since her pride won't let her ask you directly, she uses her friends as informants. Every little question, even if disguised, is proof that she's still paying attention. Now wake up. One or two of these could be mere curiosity. But if she's ticking off this whole list, the truth is she hasn't forgotten you. No matter how much she pretends otherwise, she's playing it subtly, balancing pride with her need to stay in the loop about your life. So stay alert and learn to read between the lines before falling into the trap of thinking she's just being nice. Now get this straight. If she's ticking off all these signs, you can be sure she still misses you, even if her pride's the wall she won't scale. And if you're tired of being the fool who waits for scraps while she plays around, it's time to act. Grab the manual from the description and learn to quit being the doormat. Stop settling for any crumbs she throws, just for her to stomp all over you at the first chance. If you want respect, it's time to act like someone who deserves it. Number 3, how this behavior affects you. All right, now that you're tuned in to every little signal she's sending, here comes the hard part, dealing with how all of this messes with your head. Let's be real, knowing she's still lurking around, keeping tabs on you. It scrambles your mind, doesn't it? But the truth is, these signals bring you more anxiety and confusion than any sort of peace. So buckle up and face this emotional chaos head on. First, there's the anxiety. You start wondering, does she still care? Could this be a sign there's still a chance? That doubt is like an open wound you keep poking every time she views one of your stories. If the relationship was intense, it's even worse because every view becomes a tiny trigger, dragging you back into memories and, of course, feeding that monster called uncertainty. Then comes hope. And really, hope can be your worst enemy right now. Why? Because you start dreaming that maybe, just maybe, she wants something more. That just because she liked one of your photos or commented on a mutual friend's post, she's sending signals that she wants to come back. And you know what happens next? You emotionally cling to that idea, even if deep down you know she might just be killing time or worse, keeping you in her orbit as a backup option. Clinging to this hope is a trap that only delays the closure you need. Let's be real here. These signals she's sending don't guarantee a single thing. They might be just her pride, her boredom, or a fleeting insecurity. Meanwhile, you're stuck on this emotional roller coaster, and she's out there, comfy as ever, with no obligation to commit to anything. So pay attention. Every time you get swept up by these signals, you're handing her the power to control you from afar. Understanding the impact of all this is crucial. Why? Because until you learn to keep your head straight, every like, every view, every little comment will look like a divine sign she's coming back. So before you let yourself get carried away, ask yourself if this emotional drain is worth it. Your peace of mind is worth way more than this game of she's watching you, even if it gives you a temporary thrill. Number 4, strategies to handle this behavior and take back your emotional control. All right, it's time to stop playing her game and focus on what truly matters. You. Forget about analyzing every little reaction from her like it's some mystical sign, and redirect that energy where it counts. Here are some strategies to flip the script. Focus on your own goals and personal growth. Instead of wasting time interpreting every view or like she throws your way, how about directing that energy into something you actually control? Like, I don't know, your life. Because while you're obsessing over her signals, you're putting your own growth on pause. This is your chance to turn the page, look forward, and invest in yourself. She's watching your stories? Let her. She liked your post. Good for her. Take this as a reminder to keep your priorities straight. Your goals come first. You've got better things to do than play the ex who overanalyzes every little move. Resist the urge to respond instantly. Here's a test of self-control for you. Every time you feel that urge to respond immediately, take a second and ask yourself who's really in control here. Because every time you react on the spot, you're handing her the reins. She throws out a vague signal, and you jump? No, my friend. Breathe, grab a coffee, and let the impulse pass. You don't need to prove anything to her or anyone else. Want to show her you're fine? Show her by valuing yourself, not by getting tangled up in her games. Surround yourself with people who help you grow. This is when it's crucial to have friends and family who aren't fueling your obsession. People who remind you of the bigger picture, lift you up, and make you realize that your life is more than a game of who's watching who on social media. They'll help you keep your head on straight when this emotional roller coaster with her starts spinning again. And honestly, with supportive people around, this fixation on X signals will look like a minor bump in the road. Keep calm and enjoy your own journey. Here's the bottom line. You can spend the rest of your life trying to dissect her every move, or you can just choose to walk your own path. Everyone's got their own rhythm, and life goes on whether she's watching your stories or not. Patience is key here. No need to go into overdrive with every tiny signal. She's doing her thing, you're doing yours. And isn't it nice to have that space? Keep going. Keep your head held high. And you'll be surprised at how good life feels when you're not glued to her every step. These strategies not only give you back your emotional control, but also build up your confidence. In the end, you realize that the only person who needs to approve of your decisions is you. And let's be honest, if all of this strengthens your independence, then this little X game will only serve to remind you of just how strong you've become. All right, that's it. We've reached the end of the video. I hope these insights have finally shaken you up enough to open your eyes and see when a signal from an ex is more than just a coincidence. Now, let's be clear. Recognizing these signs is great, but if you're not focused on your own well-being, it's like having a map without any idea where you're trying to go. You're the one who matters here, got it? Your focus needs to be on you, your growth, and your peace of mind. Now, I want to know, have you been through this? That situation where it feels like the other person is still hanging around, lurking in the background? Have you noticed any signs that make it clear someone hasn't quite moved on? Drop it in the comments and let's trade stories. Sometimes just talking about it helps us let it go. Oh, and if you found this video even a little useful and it made you rethink some things, what are you waiting for? Hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. Help keep the channel going, because there's plenty more no-nonsense content coming soon. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.